Hey. Oh, we
There
getting
we go.
unmute, my
Hello,
friend.
friends. And welcome to episode 27 of The Weird Turn Pro. I'm Mo Strummel in Nashville.
And I'm Jason in Lamont, PA, on my back
Forget where
porch
you were.
enjoying. Well, I'm on my back porch enjoying the last few days of a wonderful autumn that we're having at this point.
Outstanding. Today we will have a guest. Mike Miners is going to join us from Chicago, my kind of town.
I'll go.
There you go. He will be joining us in a little bit. Today's show is going to be about co-writing, and Mike Miners is part of the co-writing group that Jason jumps in with from literally around the world.
Yeah. Michael.
Eh,
We got Mike Miners from Chicago. We have Kipper Lee from South Carolina. When he's not traveling around wherever he's traveling around for work. And we have Michael Soletta, who's been on the show a couple of times down in Melbourne, Australia. Actually, Altona, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Good
job.
Which is a little confusing when I live 40 miles away from Altoona. It's just a little weird.
There's an Altoona everywhere you go. That's what I've learned. So it's just spelled a little different down there.
Yeah.
Before we get rolling, we do want to remind everyone that there is a viewer contest going on. So our newest sponsor is Belcourt Taps here in Nashville. It's a very nice little restaurant and bar. Strangely enough, it's on Belcourt Avenue. And they are providing us with some gift certificates, a gift certificate for our guest, and also one for a viewer. So for today, the way you can win that gift certificate, drum roll please, thank you, is the first person on Facebook who comments and puts the name of the songwriter of the song I'm about to mention will win the gift certificate. I'll hunt you down on Facebook after you do that.
This is one of my favorite songs of all time.
So the song is a dying Cub fan's last request. Since we're going to Chicago today, a dying Cub fan's last request. The first person who posts the writer of that song will win the gift certificate from Belcourt Taps. So we'll be looking forward to that and seeing if you can win that. While we're waiting for Mike to arrive, first of all, we want to send out our concern and that we're thinking about the people in the Gulf Coast that are facing a hurricane. So we want to make sure if you're down there, you're staying safe. Hopefully you have evacuated to where you need to be.
Having dealt with storm scares for the 16 years I lived in Florida, I know exactly what some people are going through. Others I will not relate to because that never hit me. So, every time a storm brews itself up down there, my heart goes out to everybody in the path or even close to the path because it changes how you live.
Yes, exactly. And we also want to note, obviously, this week, the passing of Eddie Van Halen and also Johnny Nash. So we wanted to just mention that and let the folks near them and around them know that we're thinking of them as well. So while we're waiting for our guest, we're gonna at least get in one song here that was part of a co-write that I was part of, and Jason's. If we have time before Mike comes on, Jason will do another one, and by then we should see Mike. This is, we're in the time of COVID, so Mike is dealing with, his children's education right now. So that's why we're waiting, and Jason will probably disappear for a little bit during this episode while he deals with his child's training. So sports training. So we'll some ice hockey stuff going on. So we'll definitely be keeping the show rolling though, and that's because that's what we do. So I'm going to play a song. I'm going to put my headphones on here so I can actually hear. But I'm going to play a song that I wrote with Adam Craw. And the process for this, Adam and I met at a guitar pool prior to this, and it looks like Mike's back, so
Hey,
I'll
hey.
go ahead and maybe we'll bring him in, and
Yeah,
then
go
I'll
ahead.
play the
Yeah,
song.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
good.
There he is.
There he is. Welcome. Oh, mute.
Oh, I got it muted. There you go.
There we go.
All right, now we can hear you.
This is Mike Miners from Chicago.
Hey,
Welcome,
everybody.
welcome,
Thanks for having me
welcome,
on.
welcome to the Weirdo Show.
I'm glad to be an honorary weirdo.
Honorary weirdo. All right, that's what we're going to start calling our guests.
Yeah, there we go.
We're not going to call them guests anymore. We're going to call them
They're
honorary weirdo.
weirdos.
Today's weirdo is
That's perfect. That's perfect. I love it. We were just talking, and I'm gonna play a song, but I was just beginning to talk about the co-write process that I had on this was with Adam Craw, and Adam has actually released the version that we demoed online, so you can go listen to it if you want online with him singing it, because he's actually sings this way better than I do, and it's much more interesting to listen to his voice than mine. But anyway, I'm going to play it. So we met at a guitar pool, and then we set up a co-write at ASCAP. So we went and met at ASCAP because we're both ASCAP people, and we met there, and they give you writing rooms there. So we went and wrote in a room for about 4 hours, and then we weren't done. And then we met at my place for 4. This is pre-COVID. So we met at my place for another 4 hours. And then I think we did, when we got to the studio to do the demo, we did a little bit of fine tuning. And in the middle, I wrote some guitar parts essentially that filled out the song and everything. And he did the bass and I think the drums he did, and the acoustics. So it's a song that comes from when I was a kid. My dad would make me go into the garage and help fix the car. I do this because really I watched and he fixed the car. That's the way it worked.
That's how that goes.
Yeah. So that's where this song came from. I did a lot of the lyrics, and he did a lot of the music on this. So it's where it comes from. And we actually did pitch this to somebody pretty big, but he was just finishing an album. We got it to his manager and he played it for him, but it was he was finished his album. So we might take another shot later with him, but we'll see what happens. So this is called Twice as Long. Watch Daddy fix the old Malibu with a 69 midnight blue, hard top coat, white vinyl seats. The wrench slipped, his knuckles tore. I heard some words I never heard before. He wiped his hands, I'm doing it right now, and he said to me, every time we start something new, pretty sure you know what to do. It's never quite as easy as it seems, 'cause things go south in a New York minute. Find yourself even deeper in it. Something's always bound to go wrong, and it always takes twice as long. 10 years later at the kitchen table, Mama, I'm not sure if I'm able. She just smiled, said, you'll get by. She paused a moment, deep in thought, finished drying that old pot. She wiped her hands, and she turned to me. She said, every time you start something new, find out you don't have a clue. It's never quite as easy as it seems, but things get better in a New York minute. You find your heart gets wrapped up in it. You realize you're right where you belong, and you hope it takes twice as long. The advice they gave still rings true today. When I'm lost, it helps me find my way. Years have passed, and they have too, but I still see them in that old Malibu. And they say every time you start something new, pretty sure you know what to do, but it's never quite as easy as it seems. But things get better in New York. You find your heart gets wrapped up in it. You realize you're right where you belong. And you hope it'll last twice as long. Now when I drive this old Malibu, I hear the wisdom from those two, and I know I'm right where I belong. And I hope this takes twice as long. Thank you.
Awesome, Mo.
That's
Awesome.
great.
So that's a little bit of an. I don't usually write for the row, and we're going to talk to Mike about that. But that was more of an attempt at writing for the row as opposed to the Americana style stuff that I usually write. So
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's got a great country feel. I love that descending bass note coming down right before the hook. It's just got a really wistful sense to it, you know. Just
thanks.
Yeah.
Imbued, dripping memory. It's amazing.
Exactly.
I think this is a good lead-in as we get ready for the first song that we're going to play from the group, the songwriting group, to talk for a moment about. Things are a little wonky because my wife, like I said, my wife usually runs this, so I forget to push buttons and stuff. So it's just. But you are a member of NSAI, and as I just said, writing for the row. I mean, that's really the focus of that organization, is to write for the row, and by that I mean write songs that can get down the road to the publishers, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what they're pointing us towards.
And how has your experience been there? What kind of things, if for like people that might be thinking about joining, what kind of things, what have you gotten out of that organization?
Okay, so what I'll say right off the bat is that it's the most amazing organization I've ever joined. I mean, you have organizations out there that claim to be able to help you connect with people and get you opportunities and put things in front of you, and you go, okay, yeah, I know, and you get in and you realize that a lot of it's just work that you have to do on your own, and they have things on a list and you can avail yourself of it or something like that. NSAI is the opposite of that. They are everything they say they're going to deliver, they deliver twice as much as I thought they would. It's really kind of amazing. So I went down to Nashville. So I've been involved in, Nashville style, pointed at publishing, trying to get cuts level songwriting for about 2 years. Before that, I've had bands since I was in my 20s, and I've been writing for myself, and I've been pursuing it that way and doing lots of different genres.
And I will point out, just if you guys get a chance to stop by Mike's website, his work is very nicely produced and worth the listen, because he creates some interesting work and it's fun to listen to. By the way,
thank you for saying that. And so I'd been on the songwriting track just for myself and for my own bands, and that was really cool. But then in a kind of life transition, I moved out of a company that I had, and was looking at one of those next chapter type of deals. And one thing I had been doing as part of the work I was doing, which was a program that was championing people's authentic passions and interests. And as a mentor in that company, and all the mentors in the company would work with people as player coaches. And so we would have our own authentic passions and interests that we were bringing into the framework, pursuing in a rigorous way. And the thing I had in that bin was my songwriting. It was pushing me forward. So when the business closed, it naturally segued into very serious songwriting. So around the time I did that, I moved into at the time I was moving into that, I ended up at a family reunion in Nashville. And this is April.
Just so happened to fall into Nashville as a fan. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? April of 18. And I've got a pretty musical family. And so my cousins were like, we should book studio time because we have a bunch of musicians in the family. That sounds amazing. It's great. And so we did. It was really cool. And we wrote a song together and made a demo while we were there for the family reunion. It was one of the all-time great family moments ever.
Yeah, that is like a dream family.
In the history of the world. I was like, okay, that's family connection right there. But making a demo together that you wrote about your family. So that was my introduction to Nashville. Was actually cutting a demo with my family. It was unbelievable. The following day, we went out to the Bluebird, and the round that night was Josh Osborne and Ross Copperman were up there, and I'm trying to remember the third person, but it's escaping me right now. But heavy hitting writers, all over the charts right now, both of those guys. And Josh Osborne, as you know, was National Songwriter of the Year last year.
Right.
And so the Bluebird's incredibly cordial environment, listening to songs. Most of the people who are watching this know that. And I'm watching, blown away by this, by the way. This is my first time in Nashville ever. I'm just sitting here, this is unbelievable. And I'm watching these guys and going, this is what I want to do. This is great. I want to do this. This sounds amazing. This is like this whirlwind dream trip to Nashville. It's like, okay. At that moment, sitting in the Bluebird, I was like, forget the artist thing. I'm done. That's what I want to do. And so in one of the banter moments of the round, it was kind of opened up to like, does anybody have any questions? So, how do I do what you're doing? How do we do this? And his answer was amazing. I loved his answer. He goes, okay, if you're in Chicago and you're not in Nashville, you're going to need a way to connect to the resources of the town. You got to have some kind of relationship with this town if you're going to make it work. It's going to be really hard to do just on an island. He said, so the first thing I would recommend you do is join the Nashville Songwriters Association. And I was like, okay, great, sounds good. If that's what you say, I'll go. I went home and looked it up and got into it. And then the second thing he said, which I thought was amazing, he goes, okay, you've been writing for a while. Yeah, I've been writing for a while. So no offense, he said, but you're probably not very good. And I was like, none taken. So you're going to have to work out all the stuff you need to learn in order to really start to write hits, things that are going to chart. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you need to do. You need to get it all out. You need to write. So my advice would be to write 300 songs and throw them in the trash, and then you're starting. I was like, wow, okay. That's actually saying something. And I loved that answer because what that communicated to me is that the craft of songwriting is an attrition game.
Yeah.
But you just gotta write and write and write and write and write. And that advice to someone just coming out, I mean, someone going like, I really want to aspire to this. I'm new. Tell me what you need to tell me. To tell me that, communicated. If you want to be a writer, it's about volume. You're just writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And if that doesn't seem, and he didn't say this is where I process them. If that doesn't sound attractive to me, the idea of writing 300 songs that no one will hear, well, then I'm probably not suited for this.
Right.
Because
and just to add into that, if you've written 300 songs, the reality is at that point you might have something that you want somebody to hear.
By that time, that's the idea. So you start to actually get the hang of it at that point. But I really loved that way of looking at it. And since then, I have been looking at it that way.
Well, I went, and I mean, R.C. Bannon, who works out of NSAI, he's one of the mentors there, and he had a hit like 6 days after he got to Nashville back in the, late or mid 70s or early 70s. I mean, 60s or whatever, which was he admits was, not the thing that's ever going to happen to anybody. But he told me that in Nashville, even the hit songwriters are writing 250 songs a year. And on the left coast, it's a different model. They write maybe 40 a year, but in Nashville, it's a 200. But out of those, how many actually get cut and how many actually get recorded, and then how many are actually hits?
Right.
Not a lot. So it's the statistics you're talking about don't end after those first 300 songs. It continues.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to keep writing.
But that's the job. The job is you
right.
You write, and the orientation I've taken to it, and when I've been talked to the guys about it when I'm in these writes with Michael and Kipper and Andrew, is that I just keep focusing myself on the fact that I love this right now. I love this. This right tonight is the dream.
Perfect.
I'm living the dream. The fact that I'm writing with three of really great people that are considered really close friends, and we get to spend all this time together, and we get to talk about real things while we're in the middle of the write, and let those weave their way into a song, and we come out with something that we can be proud of and that we can listen to over and over again.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a picture up real quick, though, okay, so that everybody can see sort of the rest of the group here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can tell everybody who these people are. Michael's been on here, right, a couple times, and down at the bottom right on your screen, and Kipperly is up at top.
Mm-hmm.
There, of course, is Mike down on the bottom left, and the guy in the middle is Andy Mack, right?
Andrew Mack. Yep.
Andrew
Mack is a fixture on Broadway. He's multiple times a week in the honky tonks, fighting it out. You can see him. He's a great performer, beautiful voice.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere near Broadway, get down there and see him, because you'll be able to say you saw him.
And if he's watching, we're trying to get him on the show. So nudge, nudge. There you go. Let's get into a song. So all four of you, the people that we just showed, are on this song "Now I Do," right?
That's right. And
where did this song come from for you guys?
So a lot of our songs come out of just hanging out and conversation and things like that. And then often what will happen is some of us will come up with, many of us like to just make lists of titles. This particular song came out of Kipper's notebook, and I'm trying to remember. It was I'm going to get it wrong, so apologies, Kipper, if you see this. The hook he had was something like I never. It was going to be I never. And it was one of those great moments where collaboration really serves a song, because what he had was a theme of things that he had never done, and thinking of it in a romantic context. And that's kind of where it started with. It was like, okay, let's see what we can do with a song along those lines. And as we were working with it, we were recognizing that the what was kind of emerging from the song as we were adding our little bits to it was that there was this kind of turn from I never this, but what is coming out of that? I never thought about these things, but I'm changing my perspective now. And how could that fit into a song about, love and things like that? And it ended up changing the hook, and kind of a fun example of evolution of the song during a co-write.
All right, well, let's give it a listen. Mike has brought us demos of these songs, so we're going to play them, so you'll hear a more complete produced version than just the two knuckleheads on a guitar playing.
So the disclaimer, I'm more like some people are the acoustic guitar, like to sing, like to get out there and sing them. I'm more of a producer.
Right.
My instrument is the computer. I play the computer, and so This is how.
And you do a wonderful job on that computer, by the way.
So sounds great. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, here's Now I Do.
Thought I had my heart locked up so tight, walking around my own spotlight. Knew which way I'd go, ride these roads so low. When I've got now, who needs tomorrow? I knew what my life was gonna be, then I met you. Never thought a moon would give me butterflies. Never thought a hand would fit so good in mine. Never thought I'd ever want to stay the night. Now I do. Never thought a song would make me want to cry. Never thought my heart would beat in perfect time. Never thought I'd ever want to change my life. Now I do. Now I do. Now can't stop thinking about you. Thought I'd live without you. Now it's you I'm calling out to. I can't take these cold nights left all alone. Leave this lonesome cowboy home. Never thought the moon would give me butterflies. Never thought a hand would fit so good in mine. Never thought I'd ever want to stay the night. Now I do. Never thought a song would make me want to cry. Never thought my heart would beat in perfect time. Never thought I'd ever want to change my life. Now I do. Now I do. You came along and changed the ending to my song. Never thought love would come out of the blue. Now I do. Never thought the moon would give me butterflies. Never thought a hand would fit so good in mine. Never thought I'd ever want to stay the night. Now I do. Never thought a song would make me want to cry. Never thought my heart would beat in perfect time. Never thought I'd ever want to change my life. Now I do. Now I do. Now I do.
That is
Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
well done.
That's
that beautiful voice of Andrew Max.
That's Andrew Mack.
yeah.
Yep.
I got to
Yep.
tell you, I got a chance to go down and see him. Like I said, we're trying to twist his arm to come on the show, but it started at, I think he was playing at 11, so it was early morning, but it was lunchtime. So I went down, had lunch, listened to him play, and I couldn't stop listening. I mean, it was just like, his voice is pretty crazy.
And the funny thing about this, for the people who are watching the show, is I knew Mo was going over to ask Andrew Mack about being on the show. He's like, isn't he one of those guys that co-writes with those guys? And I'm like, yeah. And then I like take my son somewhere and I walk out and I look at my phone and Mike has posted a picture of Andrew Mack playing on the roof where Mo was having lunch. And I knew it. I'm like, hey, there's somebody else we know there.
I looked around the room, but I was like, everybody, half people wearing masks and stuff. It's hard. You're looking around and you're like, oh man, I'm never going to be able to figure out who this is. He sent me your picture on the phone and I'm like stalking around the room.
Is this you?
Right.
Huh?
Is that you?
Well, that's a good song. That's a really good song. Have you guys done anything with that in terms of getting it to people or anything?
We've pitched it through the NSAI pitch process, which was great. And the publisher who heard it had some ideas about what he could do with it. So that was good. He took it. for anyone listening who's not a member of NSAI, there's a great process. That is one of the great things that the organization does, is they give you an opportunity to put your song in front of publishers who listen to them, give a first verse and a chorus listen, and at the end of just that little bit of listening, we'll say pass. It's not. I don't have an artist for that right now, or that's interesting, or I have an artist that I think would want to hear this song, and then they'll take a copy. There's no obligation to them. They're not committing to anything when they do that, but it's a nice shot in the arm when a publisher says, yeah, no, they give me a copy of that song. So that was a successful pitch. He took it and named a big star that he wanted to show it to. Those guys hear so many things, though, that you don't expect anything to happen.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything since then. But it was really encouraging when that was taken by the publisher. So.
Yeah, I've had one taken at the pitch, and they mentioned who they were going to play it for, and I was like, okay, that would be good.
That'll work for me.
You're right. It's a shot in the arm, right?
Yeah.
It's like playing golf. Just when you think you're going to give the game up because you can't figure it out, you hit like the perfect shot, and all of a sudden you're in the game for the next 2 years.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah, I'm with you. I get it. I just want to remind our viewers. Oh, look.
Yep.
Oh, Sarah Soletta is twisting Andrew Mack's arm right now.
oh, good. There we go.
Yep, we gotta.
Cameron Jackson just said we're the best thing on
About quarantine. This
Very
show
nice.
is the best thing about quarantine.
yeah, the best thing about
And this is a good.
Hey, Sarah.
there you go.
And there's a good segue here, because just to get a little bit of personal things about Michael in here. I noticed when you were where you listed in your pre-show questionnaire, you listed, Lesser and the Sherman Brothers as influences in your life, which means, like the two of us, you're also a theater nerd.
Yep.
Both Mo and I have worked in theater for a very long time, and so Cameron Jackson is the chair of the Florida State Theater Department.
Okay.
And so, and yes, Cameron, you have now been mentioned.
Nice. All right. Yeah.
But theater
High
people.
praise.
There it is.
I just want to remind the people that are on there watching us that you can win a gift certificate to Belcourt Taps here in Nashville. So when you come to Nashville, you can eat on the Weird Turn Pro. But the question for the day to win the gift certificate is, who wrote the song "A Dying Cub Fan's Last Request"? Since we're in Chicago today, who wrote "A Dying Cub Fan's Last Request"? If you post on Facebook there on our comments with the name of the writer, you will win the gift certificate. I will hunt you down on Facebook. All right. Let's talk about.
Did not know.
Go ahead.
I, being from Chicago, did not know the answer to that until half an hour ago when Mo told me.
It's okay. You know, sometimes the talent behind the song doesn't get revealed a lot. So it's pretty cool.
And
I
for
didn't
anybody,
I just didn't connect the two.
and for anybody
How
who's ever
about,
been to a Cubs game, if you've ever been to a Cubs game, you get the whole feeling of the song and the heartfelt feelings of a dying Cub fan.
There you go. Let's talk about Low Country Night.
Low Country Night. Okay, Low Country Night. Kipper is from Charleston, South Carolina. South Carolina, I learned from Kipper, is nicknamed Low Country. Yeah, and so this was a situation of writing directly for an artist. So Kipper, being from South Carolina, growing up with Hootie and the Blowfish as a prominent local band, that's where they're from. I think they were a Clemson band, and from the area. And Kipper actually has some, 6 degrees of separation connections with that band. And so understanding that he had that way through was like, okay, let's look for ways to get our songs out into the world. if I've got some at least ancillary connections to a particular artist, maybe we could try to exploit them and see if we can get a song into the right hands. And why not? Let's try to write a song for Darius Rucker. He's from the area. Maybe we could get a song to him. And so it was like very intentional. This is another Kipper title. Kipper was like Low Country Night. That's the title. It's the title in my head. I think we should do this. It was his proposal. And it was like, yeah, let's go for it, man. Let's see what we can do. So we tried to make a nice romantic love song that would sit well in the style of Darius Rucker, and gave it our best shot.
All right. Well, let's take a listen. Joan has arrived from work, so she's on the other side of the table from me now, pushing the buttons. So, yeah, thank God is right. I'm a technical director, but I can't do all this at once. This is why we have stage managers who just call shows and don't actually push any buttons, right? All right, let's listen to Low Country Night.
The day is gone and all our work is done. I open a bottle of wine to toast this life I won. You come out on the porch as our song begins to play, and I don't want this moment to simply pass away. Sweet grass swinging like a rocking chair, sea breeze blowing in your long brown hair, eyes that sparkle like the stars up high. Take you by the hand and then we start to move to the rhythm of a lazy Carolina groove, and nothing I can do will ever feel so right. Dancing with my baby on a low country night. Lead me down that old porch stair, across the beach in the warm salt air, to a secret place by that old palmetto tree, where it's just the moon, the sand, the stars, and you and me. Sweet grass swaying like a rocking chair, sea breeze blowing in your long brown hair, eyes that sparkle like the stars up high. Take you by the hand and then we start to move to the rhythm of a lazy Carolina groove, and nothing I can do will ever feel so right. Just dancing with my baby on the low, the sound of crashing waves, and the warmth of your embrace, and the memory of that first day. Sweet grass swaying like a rocking chair, sea breeze blowing in your long brown hair, eyes that sparkle like the stars up high. I'll take you by the hand and then we start to move to the rhythm of a lazy Carolina groove, and nothing I can do will ever feel so right. Just dancing with my baby on a low country night. Just dancing with my baby on a low country night.
It sounds like you achieved your objective.
I appreciate that.
Has he heard it?
He hasn't heard it. The closest we've gotten to it was we pitched it on Song Tuner to someone looking for songs for Darius.
Right.
That plugger decided not to forward it on to him. So that's the breaks, we keep
the way it works. Yep.
Keep it in the catalog, and we keep doing what we can. We keep pushing it. So
good. I think it's in his wheelhouse. I think you guys wrote a song that's in his wheelhouse for sure. I mean,
thank you. I appreciate it. I feel pretty good about it. So, we just, that's what we do. We hold on to it, and next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
One of the things I keep hearing, I know I'm very new at this, but one of the things I keep hearing is that a lot of these songs take many, many years. Some songs that end up charting they sat in the bin for 6, 7 years before they even
Absolutely.
get out of the bin, and then they get cut and then they find a life. So
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple songwriters that I represent, and I sign, when we sign them, and I only do single songs, but we sign them for 2 or 3 years, and the point is, if you can't, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's just not. First of all, we have to, when you're looking, you have to make sure that you're pitching a song that fits who you're pitching it to. You can't pitch it to everybody. You'll lose any credibility you have. It has to fit the person. And this is not a big town. I mean, it's a city, but if you start just spraying your songs everywhere, you're not going to make a lot of friends. So
right.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine it would just start to exhaust people.
Yeah. And people will stop answering your emails and that kind of stuff. So, listen, we're at that point in the show where it's time for you to try to win a prize.
Oh, baby.
Has he seen the prize yet?
No, he hasn't. I haven't shown it to him.
Oh my God.
So we call this My Hometown. And what we do is we're going to ask you 3 questions. If you get 2 out of 3 correct, you will win your very own Stay Weird Turn Pro mug.
Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
This is obviously a mason jar with a handle, but it also comes with a lid and a straw, so you can put whatever you want in it. But all of our guests vie for this. This is the prize.
Okay.
So since your hometown is Chicago, we are going to ask you 3 questions about Chicago. The first one, and Jason is going to keep score, although he's already given you 3 points, so you may already have one. I don't know. So Kipper's on the line here, so he's going to know. Hey, you know what? I'm going to have those made, Kipper. We will have those made. So here's your first question. The first one I think is pretty easy. We'll see how you do.
Okay.
What lake is Chicago on?
Lake Michigan.
All right. Jason, how's he doing so far? He's got 1 right. Okay. He's got 1 right. Okay. Question number 2. This is a multiple choice question because I didn't know if this was hard or not because I'm not from Chicago. So I made it multiple choice.
Okay.
A rival city tried to claim the nickname Windy City in a feud with Chicago in 1876. What was the name of the city that lost? Was it A, Milwaukee, B, Erie, or C, Cincinnati?
Erie.
Cincinnati. Okay, so Cincinnati, when they lost, they actually won another title that Chicago and Cincinnati were vying for, the title Porkopolis. So they actually have that title.
Porkopolis. Right? Now, is that a political nickname? Do we know?
It's about the meatpacking industry. Yeah.
Fun fact, which is probably not fun for anyone except people from Chicago, is that Windy City is not about weather. It's not about air blowing. It's about hot air from the politicians.
Aha. Okay. Well, let's talk about one that is about the wind.
Okay.
A nickname for Chicago's wind sounds like the name of a bird. What bird? I'll give you 3 choices.
Nickname for Chicago's wind.
Yeah, there's a nickname for the wind. And actually, it shows up in a 1967 song by Lou Rawls called Dead End Street.
Oh, my God.
And he speaks an intro about what the nickname is. And it really has nothing to do with a bird. It's a shortened version of something. But is it an eagle, a hawk, or a condor?
I don't know. A hawk.
A hawk is correct. How do you do, Jason?
2 out of 3. He's a winner.
All right. So you're going to win your very own Stay Weird Turn Pro mug.
Nice.
The word hawk actually comes from Hawkins because of the winters. They say no one seems to know the origin. I looked all over the place, but it's like the Hawkins is coming in, and it's like I don't know. They talk about the winter moving in. All right, but you got 2 right, so you're in good shape.
Good,
you're getting your prize, right?
Nice. That's the important thing.
Exactly. Hey, Jason.
Yes, sir.
why don't you give us one of the songs you wrote with these guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
And then after that, we'll see. Well, we'll figure out what you're drinking. Okay.
Oh, can I drink first?
So tell us what the song is and a little bit about it.
No.
And
So as we were doing a show and Michael had come on, and then we had the guitar pull, and Michael came on, and every time he introduced a song, he was talking about this quartet of folks that he was with when he was writing these songs, and they were always solid songs that he was playing, and I had not a really I'm the neophyte in this crowd. I'm not a Songwriter Association member. I've still got young kids, and I'm fighting that battle every day. So I contacted him and I said, hey, is there a way that I can sit in on one of your songwriting sessions? Because I would like to know what that's about. I sit in my basement in the middle of the night by myself and struggle through rhyme scheme and story and the whole thing. So I wanted to be around some folks that were doing it as a group and get a better idea of it. And so I reached out. He's like, well, let me check with the guys and see if this is something that they're interested in. I got to say, they're all welcoming, and it was a wonderfully positive experience. I was shocked with how easy everything seemed to be, as far as getting to know each other, getting to kind of get a rapport and be able to jump into an idea. We had they work with an open Google Doc and then start talking, and then they start, it's word vomit on a page. So ideas just start slapping and hitting, and some of it is like the wet tissue paper, and it hits and it slides down the wall.
Yeah. Most of it.
and at one point we were kind of talking about country songs, and Mike says, well, I'm kind of a country music tourist. This isn't my thing. So everything stopped. And we're like, I think it was Kipper pointed out, he's like, that's a song right there. So of course we started heading down that road, and the amazing simpatico parts of what happened was I had put a capo on, and it matched where Michael had put a capo on in Australia, and we both struck a G chord at the capo at the same time. I mean, it was within seconds of each other. And so it was like, okay. And so I heard that he did it, so I kind of created a little riff, and then we ran from there. And it went from, is this going to be, especially when all of this has happened since COVID. It was in the middle of summer. Maybe August is when this happened. So it was like, well, we got to be cautious about tone, because the tourist in Nashville right now doesn't necessarily have one of the best connotations. So we need to think about that. And we kind of moved from there, and it was great, because I come from a folk school, Americana, and most things that I write are about, it just goes immediately into a sad song, depressing song topic you really don't want to, and they're like, no, we need to keep this positive. So how are we going to do that? And then we ended up coming up with this song, and it's an interesting perspective. I don't know that the voice is kind of cool, and where the song goes is fun, and it's got a really classic old country feel to it. And if you can't see the sawdust on the floor of a bar listening to this song, I'm not singing it the right way, and we need to talk to Andrew Mack. So this is I made an abridgment to the title, and instead of country music tourist, I like to call it music city tourist, because that's kind of where it is. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna switch screens real quick so I can pull up the lyrics, because I just forget everything right now. And we'll go from there. So this is Music City Tourist. Just pulled into town trying to find your way. to the weekend rental not 2 blocks away from the Neon Cowboy. Listen over Broadway. Heard it from a friend, it's a real good time. Now you're walking in here to listen to me. You're a Music City tourist, there ain't no need to be a purist. You wanna hear some tunes in a Broadway saloon, get a beer in your hand. And when the tip jar raises, I'll play you friends in low places. You're a Music City tourist, and that's alright by me. By tomorrow night, you'll be next to the stage, singing along with every song that gets played, wearing brand new boots, buy 2 get 1. You're a Music City tourist, there ain't no need to be a purist. You'll wanna hear some tunes in a Broadway saloon and get a beer in your hand. And if the tip jar raises, I'll sing you friends in low places. You're a country music tourist, and that's alright by me. Every night they come and go as I sit here putting on a show. It's a special trip for you, it's true, but next weekend there'll be another just like you. Monday morning you'll be headed home, 100 different pictures sitting on your phone, trying to remember what the hell you've done. You're a country music tourist, there ain't no need to be a purist. Wanna hear some tunes in a Broadway saloon and get a beer in your hand. And if the tip jar raises, I'll sing you friends in low places. You're a country music tourist, and that's alright by me. Yeah, you're a country music tourist, and that's alright by me. Oh,
Hey, you did fine. It's,
Yeah.
Look, it's live
Live
music,
music.
man. That's what
it
happens.
got cold out here.
It got cold. Well, that'll learn you.
Yeah, well,
Well, I like that song. I mean, I think it's a good song. I think you guys did a good job on that. And I think, one of the things RC did tell me was because I had a song, I can't remember what song it was. I played for him. And he said, don't write songs about Nashville. He said, just don't. He said, he said, only the people that live here care about him. He said, that's what he told me. And I was like, well, but still, that's where I live. That's where I'm living now. So what am I going to write about? I mean, it's like saying, don't write a song about New York. Hey, it worked. I think you have to. I think when people are giving you advice, you have to take it in and process it, because not all of it is, I mean, there's a lot of good advice, but there's also a lot of advice that you should just throw away. And maybe take it in, process it, and then throw it away, because some of it is good. I mean, I meet so many people down here, and everybody wants to tell me how to do it, and it's like, so where are you now? Oh, I don't play anywhere, and I don't do anything. And it's like, yeah, you're not somebody I'm really going to listen to. So, but I mean, the experience at NSAI is a little bit different because they have the contacts and they have the,
Yeah. Well, my theory about advice is that anytime I'm giving advice, I'm telling you what I need to do. And
Right.
And I just, that's when I hear people advice, they're just telling me what they need to do. And the way I evaluate people's advice is their situation similar to my situation?
Right.
Their situation, the closer their situation is to mine, the more likely I am to listen to the advice. And to your point, that NSAI is right in where I want to be.
Right.
And having a lot of experience in the areas I'm trying to go, and have similar orientation to goal setting that I do. So I go, okay, this is pretty similar. If Ryan Cunningham's telling me to do something, he's telling me what he needs to do, but I kind of want to be like Ryan, so I'm gonna follow his advice.
Have you done mentorships with them? Have you gone in and sat down with any of their mentors?
Yeah, no, well, the guys and I met through Song Camp, which was an NSAI event, which was, by the way, unbelievably amazing. And when COVID is over and Song Camp gets back online, I highly recommend that. It brought 100 people from across the globe to a weekend of intense learning and community building and songwriting. Unbelievable. And we came out of it, not just the three of us, or the four of us with Andrew. We had Andrew. We all met there, and we came out of it with those relationships. But then we all continue to write with other people from Song Camp. So I'd say among all of us, there's probably this greater group. If there were 100 of us there, there's probably 20 of us that are still buzzing from this thing a year and a half ago. So there's that. But then also, meeting with the member reps is really huge. Just emailing back and forth. They're really incredibly available and generous with their advice and generous with their resources. I can't say enough about the place.
Yeah, and they do host events down here. I mean, prior to COVID, there was, there are showcases and things like that they set up that members can, avail themselves of. So it's pretty cool. That's definitely pretty cool. Jason, what are you drinking today, by the way?
I went down the street. I've got Voodoo Brewing Company down the street, just down the mountain from me. And I've got this Marzen lager, and I think it wins the title today because, let me get there so you can see it. It is called Schnitz and Giggle.
I love it.
And the only thing better than that is this guy somehow eating a cuckoo clock that's on the front of the can. So the artwork in Voodoo is amazing, and the beer is tasty.
Excellent. I have my fallback from Tennessee Brew Works, the State Park Blonde Ale. Some of the money from the sale of all these goes to Tennessee State Parks. So this is the official beer of the Tennessee State Parks right here.
Excellent.
So it's delicious. Mike, do you have anything there?
In my rush here, I failed to grab.
I know we caught you off guard there, didn't we? That's okay. So let's talk. We got time for one more song, and I saved this one for last because this is the time of year actually when if you're a publisher and you have a song or whatever, this is when you need to start getting it to the radio stations in order to make the Christmas playlists, right? So I saved the Christmas one for last year. Tell us about this one and how it came about. It's called Ho Ho Hold My Beer.
Another Kipper Lee title. This was last December. We had been writing a lot of deep, heavy songs, and loving it. But we were like really in the emotions and gut wrenching stuff. There was one about a long distance relationship that was hard that we were writing, and we're spending all this time, hours just in these really tough, dark emotions. And at the end of one of these writes, Kipper just goes, "Boys, next time we get together, we're writing a Christmas song called Ho Ho Hold My Beer." And we were like, it just floored the whole room. We were like, just broke up laughing. I was like, I definitely want to write that song.
Yeah.
And
great title.
Yeah. So next night we got on it and just had a blast.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. Bring her up, Joan. Here we go. Ho Ho Hold My Beer.
So you got the blues this Christmas, and the world seems so unkind. I got the cure for Yuletide sickness. Come here, watch this, it'll blow your mind. Ho, 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 my beer. This is the best time of the year. Take the silver bells, cause this beer belly elf is gonna spread a little Christmas cheer. Ho, 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 my beer. While I saddle up my reindeer, gonna fill up the sleigh with all the coolest and hay. We need to party till the end of the year. We got elves rocking, four-piece band, Rudolph singing with a mic in his hand. Frosty's keeping all the beer on ice, and I'll be watching who's naughty or nice. Ho, 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 my beer. Never let your worries disappear, cause the French can't steal our good time, baby, if it's hanging from the chandelier. Ho, 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 my beer. The ghost of Christmas party's here. When Scrooge wakes up, give him a solo cup and tell him everybody's welcome here. We got elves rocking in four-piece band, Rudolph singing with a mic in his hand. Frosty's keeping all the beer on ice, and I'll be watching who's naughty or nice. Now I promised you a white Christmas, if it's the last thing that I do. Just wear some red and some green and hold this bottle for me, and I can dash away all your blues. We got elves rocking a four-piece band, Rudolph singing with a mic in his hand. Frosty's keeping all the beer on ice, and I'll be watching who's naughty tonight. Ho, 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 my beer. Let's spread a little Christmas cheer, 'cause I'm the one that kids call old Saint Nick, and I got everything you need right here. You just hold my beer.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We all needed to have a solo cup in our hand when we
Right.
Well, I think that one will make it to the radio eventually, and it'll be that's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because it just comes back every year, right?
Exactly.
So Christmas songs are a good
Yeah.
idea. Yeah. If you're a writer, it's also a good exercise because you're writing for a specific type of holiday event and things like that. So I think it's a good exercise for writers to try to write, think about Holiday Inn, right? That movie, there's a song for every holiday, right? It's wonderful. Yeah. So, well, Mike, we're about out of time, but I want to say thank you for agreeing to come on and sharing the, not just yours, but the group's work here.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate it. And, hopefully we'll continue our streak with your group and get, the rest of the folks on here eventually. That'll be fun. And we'll have the whole collection, so to speak.
Well, we got enough room. We can have everybody on at the same time. That would be
we can. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Guys, it was really fun to hang out with you for an hour.
I'm glad. We're really glad you said yes. We're really glad that you're here. we need you to hang for just a minute after we go down from live,
Okay.
so we can chat for just a second. But once again, great songs. You guys are doing great work.
Thank you. And same to both of you guys.
Well, thank you. Eventually we're hoping that we're gonna like say, well, now that you're famous, you have to come back on because
Yeah.
I promise to come on when I'm famous. I promise.
So,
Well,
anyway,
the good thing is that we now once we can get Michael stateside.
Yeah.
And if when things clear up, we can have a live show. We can have everybody here together in one place and just talk about, hey, what you guys have been able to accomplish through all of this time in lockdown. You had already started in the process working with Michael already overseas, but being able to continue that, and it was just you just kept that ball rolling, and that's an amazing thing. So
if they're all here at the same time, maybe we can get Rose at Belcourt Taps. We'll broadcast right from there, and you can tie in from there, or you can come down and visit, and we can just do a whole live show right from there.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right, hey, listen, everybody who's been watching and chatting here online, we really appreciate it, and
thank you all.
Share this, tell your friends, wake the kids. All that good stuff. Tell everybody about it. And we hope we'll see you again next time. As Hunter S. Thompson once wrote, right? When the going gets weird,
the weird turn pro.
We'll see you later, everybody.
Have
Thanks,
a great
Mike.
week, everybody. See you next Thursday.